The wealthiest man who ever lived had a morning ritual, and it had nothing to do with journaling, nothing to do with cold showers, nothing to do with reading market reports or consulting his advisors or reviewing his treasury ledgers. Before Solomon made a single decision, before he signed a single contract, before he spoke a single word of judgment, before he moved 1 inch into his day, he did one thing, one sacred thing. And because of that one thing, wisdom flowed to him like water. Wealth accumulated around him like the tide. Nations sent their queens to sit at his feet. And the man died, having never once, not once, made a decision that destroyed him. I am Rabbi Shimon. I am 83 years old. I have buried friends, and I have watched enemies prosper, and I have seen the righteous wait in valleys so dark they forgot what sunlight looked like. And in all my years, all my decades of studying Torah, of sitting with the Talmud before dawn, of learning from masters who learned from masters, I have never found anything more powerful than what I am about to show you today. This has been hidden, not because no one knew. It has been hidden because the people who knew guarded it carefully. The way you guard something precious. The way you guard something that could change everything. If you are ready to receive this, and I believe you are because this video did not find you by accident, I want you to type the word Chokhmah in the comments right now. Chokhmah. It is a Hebrew word for divine wisdom. And when you type it, you are not just leaving a comment. You are making a declaration that you are open, that you are hungry, that the wisdom of heaven can enter your life beginning in this moment. Type Chokhmah right now and press that like button, because when you do, you are agreeing with this blessing over your life, and you are telling the algorithm to carry this ancient truth to someone else who is desperate for it tonight. Now, let me take you back, not to a seminar room, not to a modern pulpit with stage lights and a worship band. Let me take you back 3,000 years to Jerusalem at the height of its glory. The temple is gleaming. The walls are cedar and gold. The air smells of frankincense and cedarwood oil. And in the inner chambers, before the sun has fully risen above the hills of Judea, a king is awake, not yet dressed in his royal robes, not yet seated on his ivory throne. Solomon, son of David, the man God himself called the wisest who ever lived. He is sitting in the quiet of the morning, and he is reading, he is speaking, he is declaring, and the psalm he read, the specific psalm, is not the one you think. Everyone knows that Solomon wrote Proverbs. Everyone knows he wrote Ecclesiastes' Song of Songs. Everyone associates wisdom with his name. But here is what most people do not know. Solomon was the inheritor of his father David's prayer life. David had shown him. David had modeled it. And when David passed the kingdom to Solomon, he did not give him gold first. He gave him something more valuable. He gave him the daily practice that had sustained him through betrayal, through caves, through wars, through failures that would have destroyed any ordinary man. He gave him Psalm 72 now. I know you have probably never heard anyone teach on Psalm 72 as a morning practice. You have heard of Psalm 23, Psalm 91, Psalm 37. But Psalm 72, the rabbis call it Solomon's Psalm. It carries his name in its very opening line. And when you understand what is encoded inside this psalm, what the original Hebrew is actually saying beneath the English translation, you have been handed everything about how you approach your mornings, your decisions, your finances, your life will shift forever. Before I show you the hidden secret inside this psalm, I need to tell you something that the great Baal Shem Tov once said. The holy Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Chassidic wisdom, he said this: a person receives what they expect, not what they deserve. And when I first heard this, everything changed for me. Because I realized that most people, good people, faithful people, people who pray and give and sacrifice, are approaching God with expectation set to the wrong frequency. They expect struggle. They expect delay. They expect almost enough. And so that is precisely what they receive. Solomon understood this. His morning ritual was not about asking. It was about aligning. And the difference between those two things is everything. Let me show you what Psalm 72 actually says and what it actually means. The psalm opens with these words: "Give the king your justice, O God, and your righteousness to the royal son." Now in English, this sounds like a simple request, a king asking God to help him be fair. That is what most people read and move on. But in the original Hebrew, the word translated as give is ten, and it does not mean give as in hand something over. Ten in this context means transmit, pour into, infuse. Solomon is not asking God to lend him justice for the day. He is asking God to pour divine wisdom into him the way you pour oil into a vessel. He is asking to become a channel, a conduit. He is saying, empty me of my own limited human thinking and fill me with yours. This is the first hidden key. Solomon did not begin his day asking what he should do. He began his day asking to become the kind of vessel that wisdom could flow through. And that one shift from petition to transformation is what separated his decisions from every other king's decisions. Because here is the truth that nobody tells you. When you start your morning asking God to fix your circumstances, you are praying from the outside in. You are looking at the problem and asking heaven to change it. But when you pray the way Solomon prayed, when you ask God to transform you from within, you are praying from the inside out. And inside-out prayer is the only prayer that produces lasting change, because your circumstances are always a reflection of your internal state. Change the state, change the circumstances. The second hidden secret in Psalm 72 is found in verse 3. Let the mountains bear prosperity for the people, and the hills in righteousness. Now, the word translated as mountains in Hebrew is harim, and in Kabbalistic teaching, the mountains represent obstacles, the immovable things, the things that loom over your life and cast their shadows, the debt that feels like a mountain, the diagnosis that feels like a mountain, the broken relationship, the dried up opportunity, the door that has been closed so long you stopped knocking. Solomon is declaring in his morning prayer that even the mountains, even the obstacles will become sources of provision. Not that the mountains will be removed, that they will bear prosperity, that what was blocking you will begin to feed you. The great Rabbi Akiva, the one who entered the Pardes, the mystical orchard of divine knowledge, Rabbi Akiva taught that every obstacle in a righteous person's life contains within it the seed of their breakthrough. He said, and I am paraphrasing from memory, do not pray for the mountain to disappear. Pray for eyes to see what the mountain is hiding. And when I understood this, I stopped asking God to remove my problems and started asking him what my problems were trying to show me. And what I discovered changed the entire trajectory of my ministry. Solomon prayed this over himself every morning. He looked at the mountains of difficulty that surrounded his kingdom, the political enemies, the building costs, the impossible logistics of constructing the temple, and he declared that those mountains would bear prosperity, not someday, now, in righteousness, aligned with divine order. Before I show you the third secret, the one that I believe will be the most personally relevant to where you're sitting, right now I need you to do something. Type the word shalom in the comments, right now. Not as a tradition, not as a religious formality, but as a declaration. Shalom does not simply mean peace. In Hebrew, shalom means completeness, wholeness, nothing missing, nothing broken. When you type shalom, you are declaring that this is your inheritance. That lack does not belong to you. That brokenness does not define you. That the completeness of heaven is your portion. Type it now. Now. The third hidden secret. And this is the one that will change your mornings forever. In verse 8 of Psalm 72, Solomon declares, "May he have dominion from sea to sea and from the river to the ends of the earth." And the rabbis who sat with this verse for generations noticed something extraordinary. Solomon is not praying for himself here. He is praying for the anointing he carries, the divine authority to expand. He is praying that the wisdom God has placed inside him will have reach, influence, territory. And here is what the Kabbalah teaches about this. When you pray for your gifts to expand, when you pray for your purpose to reach further, you create what is called a reshimu, a spiritual impression in the heavenly realm that begins drawing circumstances, people, and opportunities toward you. You are not pushing your way into abundance. You are creating a magnetic field. You are making yourself findable to the blessing that has been looking for a vessel worthy to carry it. Most people pray for money. Solomon prayed for dominion. And here is the difference. Money is a resource. Dominion is a position. Money can be spent, lost, stolen. Dominion, divine authority, aligned purpose. Chokhmah flowing through your decisions. That is what makes more money. That is what builds what cannot be broken. Solomon became the wealthiest man in history, not because God dropped gold in his lap, but because God gave him a position of authority in the spiritual realm that caused wealth to flow naturally toward his life. And he accessed that position every single morning before he made one decision, before he spoke one word. The great Nachmanides, the holy Ramban, once wrote in his commentary on Torah that a person's morning is a prophecy for their day. How you begin shapes what follows. If you begin in anxiety, you move through the day in anxiety's frequency. If you begin in declaration, in the posture of a son or daughter who already knows they are provided for, you move through the day on that frequency. And the world responds to frequencies. Opportunities find people who are vibrating at the frequency of their inheritance, not the frequency of their fear. Now I want to speak directly to you, not to everyone watching, to you specifically, because I believe the reason this video found you today is not random. There is someone watching right now who has been making decisions from a place of scarcity. You have been calculating before you commit. You have been hesitating at doors that are standing open because fear whispers that you might be wrong. You have been holding back your gifts because you are not sure there is a market for them, not sure you are qualified, not sure this is the right time. And heaven is saying to you today, Solomon did not wait until he felt ready. Solomon prayed every morning to be made ready by the God who qualifies the called. And what was true for Solomon the covenant, the access, the wisdom available through prayer and declaration, that is your inheritance too. You are reading from the same Torah. You are calling on the same God. The ancient technology of this psalm is available to you this morning, tomorrow morning, every morning, for the rest of your life. So let me give you the practice, the 3-step morning practice, drawn directly from Solomon's psalm. Because understanding without application is just information, and information does not change your circumstances. Application does. The first step, read Psalm 72 aloud every morning, before you look at your phone, before you check your email, before you consult any human opinion about your day. Stand up when you do this. Do not read it lying in bed. Do not read it slumped in a chair. Stand as a person who understands their authority. Read it slowly. Let each line enter your consciousness the way water enters dry ground, not rushing, not skimming the surface, but soaking in. As you read the word justice in verse 1, declare it over your life. Say, I am given divine justice today. My decisions are righteous. My discernment is clear. As you read about the mountains in verse 3, declare, every obstacle in my life is becoming a source of provision. What was blocking me is feeding me. As you read about dominion in verse 8, declare, my gifts have reached today. My purpose has territory. I am operating from divine authority, not human limitation. This is not recitation. This is declaration. There is a difference. Recitation is repeating words. Declaration is agreeing with heaven. The second step, after you have read the psalm and made your declarations, sit in 30 seconds of complete silence. Do not pray more. Do not ask for things. Just sit. The rabbis called this hashket, holy stillness. It is in the stillness that wisdom deposits itself. Solomon's wisdom did not come from his words. It came from his willingness to stop talking long enough to receive 30 seconds of silence after your declaration. No agenda, no petition, just open hands, just a listening posture. The third step, write down the first thought that comes to you in that silence. One sentence. Whatever arrives in that quiet space, write it on paper, not on your phone. Paper. Because in Jewish tradition, what is written carries weight in both the natural and the spiritual realm. You are not journaling. You are documenting revelation. And over 30 days of this practice, you will look back at what you have written and see a pattern, a divine thread of guidance that was being woven through your mornings the entire time. This is how Solomon received his wisdom, not in thunderclaps and burning bushes, though those things happened too. He received his daily wisdom in the quiet morning deposits of a God who was faithful to show up when Solomon showed up. Now, I want to speak something prophetically over your specific situation, because there are several different people watching this. And I believe the Holy Spirit is directing these words precisely. There is someone watching who has been in a decision paralysis for months. You have a choice in front of you, an opportunity, a move, a conversation, a risk, and you have been frozen. Every time you think you are ready, something shifts and the fear returns. Heaven is saying to you right now, this is not wisdom keeping you still. This is the enemy using the counterfeit of caution to keep you out of your territory. Solomon would have prayed Psalm 72 over this decision. He would have asked for divine justice, divine order to enter the situation and clarify the path. Begin this practice tomorrow morning Within 3 days of consistent morning alignment, your clarity will return. There is someone else watching who has been making decisions from a position of financial pressure. Every choice you make with the shadow of debt over it. You accept less than you deserve because you cannot afford to negotiate. You say yes when you should say no, and no when you should say yes, because your financial situation is controlling your decision-making. And this is the deepest poverty, not the lack of money, but the loss of freedom in your thinking. Solomon's psalm is specifically designed to break this. When you declare divine justice over your mind in the morning, you are asking God to disentangle your thinking from your circumstances. You are asking Him to give you king thinking, even in pauper circumstances. And king thinking is what transforms pauper circumstances. There is also someone who has been praying for wisdom about a relationship, a marriage that has lost its direction, a partnership, business, or personal that has become strained, a family situation that feels impossibly complicated. And the wisdom you need is not human wisdom. The wisdom you need is the wisdom that Solomon accessed, the wisdom that could see past the surface of a situation to its root. Begin this practice. Begin speaking dominion over your relationships. Dominion means, I am not controlled by this. I bring divine order to this. I carry heaven's perspective into this room. Let me give you one final thing before I close with the blessing that I speak over everyone in this community. The reason this practice works, the reason Solomon's morning ritual produced results that defied natural explanation, is rooted in a principle that the Talmud expresses this way: a person is led in the way they wish to go. When you choose every morning to align yourself with divine wisdom before you encounter the chaos of the day, you are expressing a wish, a direction, a destination, and heaven, which respects your free will, which will never force its gifts on you. Heaven responds to that direction. It opens the path you have declared. It prepares the table before you arrive. You are not trying to convince God to help you. You are choosing through this morning practice to walk the road where help has already been prepared. You are positioning yourself to receive what has already been allocated. You are, in the language of the rabbis, becoming a vessel fitted for the blessing that has been waiting for a worthy container. Solomon did not become wise because he was born extraordinary. He became wise because he chose every morning to prioritize wisdom above everything else. And God, who had offered him anything at all, said, because you ask for this above silver and gold, I will give you this, and silver and gold as well. Ask for wisdom. Practice the alignment. Show up every morning in the posture of a student of heaven, and watch what follows you into your day. Now I want to close by speaking a blessing over you. Not a traditional religious formality, a real blessing, an ancient blessing drawn from the language of the Torah and the intention of every rabbi who has ever placed his hands on a student's head and poured the hope of thousands of years into that one moment. May the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the one who opened a path through the sea and brought water from a rock and gave a shepherd boy the arm to topple a giant, may he open the gates of Chokhmah over your life, beginning this morning. May divine wisdom enter your decisions the way oil enters a lamp, quietly, completely bringing light where there was only darkness. May every mountain in your life begin to bear the fruit of provision. May what has blocked you become what feeds you. May your dominion expand your gifts, finding their territory, your purpose, reaching the people it was always meant to serve. May the first thought you have each morning be a word from heaven, and may you have the courage to write it down and act on it. May your mornings become the source of everything that follows. May Psalm 72 become your daily covenant, not something you read, but something you live. If this word landed in your spirit today, I need you to do one thing before you leave this video. Share it. Not because I need the views, because there is someone in your life, a friend, a family member, a person you have been praying for, who is making decisions in the dark right now, who is choosing without wisdom because no one has shown them how to access it. Send them this. Be the reason they discover the morning practice that changes their direction. Subscribe to this channel, not as a passive click, but as a covenant that you are willing to keep showing up for the ancient wisdom that has sustained God's people through every impossible season. There is more to reveal. There is more that has been hidden in plain sight, and we will find it together. Shalom.